Yo, what's up? It's Toby G, MBE, known as Romano Chavo Galiciaco, and I'm just about to be on the Online Prosperity Show. Check it out, don't miss it. Peace and love.
Welcome to our wonderful listeners and watchers to the Online Prosperity Show, your number one destination for exclusive insights, methods, and stories that help you conquer your challenges and build the life you truly want. I'm your host, Prosper Taruvinga, and today we've got something truly special in the house. Toby, how are you doing today?
Very good, my man. Thank you. Very good.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, from what I know and what I've been seeing and hearing about you, you're the king for the day, right?
For the day, yes, my man.
So that's what your cup says. I've been noticing.
Yes.
Absolutely. So for those that are tuning in for the very first time, our guest, Toby Gorniak, yes, the very same Toby who went from being penniless, homeless, and non-English speaking teenage refugee who came from Poland has now become a global transformational coach, hip-hop artist, also done a TEDx, and he's a social entrepreneur. And drum roll, please. He not only has he gone above the ranks, he actually owns the order of it. He is an MBE recipient, and last but not least, he's the founder of the Gorniaks Method. And I know you're intrigued right now. You can't wait to hear it from the horse's mouth. And I bet you're thinking, how on earth does one person go from refugee to MBE? Well, that's exactly what we're going to explore. And trust me, you're in for an inspiring ride. And just a quick heads up, if at any point you just maybe feel a spark of recognition or connection, maybe it's because Toby's story reminds of your own dreams or obstacles. And I encourage you to just maybe drop a comment and tell us what really resonated with you, because you're not just on a journey here by yourself. We hear you, we see you, and we want you to do and have a happier existence. And I'll be looking out for your moments of, yes, that happened to me too, or yes, I hear that, brother. So buckle up. And I think you should expect to laugh, maybe tear up a little bit. I've just been talking to the men behind the scenes, and just the way his personality, who he is just amazing. But definitely, I know you're going to walk away empowered. So let's just dive into Toby's journey where resilience, hip-hop, and heart actually collide. Now, Toby, I could go on and talk about things that, you know, I'm not even qualified to talk about. I mean, you arrived in the UK penniless as a teenage refugee, a Roma refugee who didn't even speak English, and talk about starting from zero. Can you maybe walk us through that particular incident and what was actually happening?
Yeah, let me give you a little background. So I was born in Poland. Poland is a white country. I'm a Roma, and Roma in Europe are not liked, not welcomed. They don't want us to exist within that space. Growing up as a young boy who's always hated, spat, beaten, abused by teachers, school, police, anyone you could imagine in the entire city. You're always learning to shift, to move, to hide, to blend in, to disappear, so you not hit, spat, punched, whatever else that happens in that community. So from a very young age, I learned how to move within the city without getting into trouble. And lots of times we haven't done nothing, we're just innocent children, and people treat us this way, just because of our skin color, just because of our culture, just because of what we represent. So for our community, it's a really, really hardship for people that live in Europe. And don't know how many people are aware of the Holocaust, with what Hitler did. He killed thousands of Jews and killed thousands of millions of Roma people. So we were there, we suffered, and even to today, my people are suffering. So my mother realized that it's getting worse and worse. And one day, literally out of nowhere, told us to jump in a taxi, and we left the country because there was a lot of racism. There was a lot of skinheads. Skinheads are people who are really violent, who believe in what Hitler was saying. So they are neo-Nazis. So there was a large group of them coming to our city, and our mother knew if she didn't take us away, we could be killed, or we would end up fighting for our rights and doing that to others just to survive. So my mother knew she didn't have a choice. So at that moment in time, she literally grabbed us, chucked us in a taxi, and we left the country.
Absolutely, and
And this is where the journey starts.
Oh, absolutely. I'm putting my seatbelt right now because it's gonna be a buckle up type of ride. Now, for those that are maybe not quite clear, especially just maybe you could maybe just give us a hint as to what sort of people the Roma are.
So Roma people, we live our principles by our family, God, and our culture and our community. We're very simple people. We like things to be kept very simple. We keep ourselves to ourselves. We have our own language. We have our own way of life. And we don't mix much with the world. We keep ourselves to ourselves. And our main point of life is our children, our community, our families. So that there's an order of life. And it's God, parents, family, and all your children. And it's about bringing everyone together, living together, and we're very free-spirited people. So a lot of our people still move, travel, and not many of us still live in houses. So we live in caravans and vehicles, or we stop off in all many different places around the world. So we are nomads, people of the land. We travel, and we are free to live wherever we need to live. That's our principle of the Roma people.
Absolutely. And I mean, Toby, you would understand, the way the world is set up right now. If you're moving from place to place, then they can't charge you tax. And I don't think they like that.
No, they don't like that very much. No. I mean, the crazy thing about this, in the world we live in, there's so many myths when it comes into paying taxes. But one of the things I always explain, because I do these workshops in schools with young people. And one of the things I say to them, when you buy your pair of trainers, did you pay tax? They go, no. Yes, you have. When you buy your chewing gum, have you paid tax? No. Yes, you have. Everything is taxed. Nothing is for free. The water, when we travel in our vehicles, or we go from place to place, wherever we live, we got to pay for water. We got to pay for gas. We got to pay for electricity. We got to pay for our food. We got to pay for our clothes. We pay tax like everybody else. The maybe tax we don't pay is brick and mortar, the house that you live in. That's the only tax we don't pay, because we might be traveling on the road.
Absolutely. And from there, I just wanted to paint that sort of a picture of why, certain ethnicities would be vilified because they do not conform with the way of life of which maybe the order of things and things of that nature. But obviously, having grown up in a space like this, you would have had the people around you, safety and things, and the external people were the ones that were obviously doing most of the attacks and things like that. When you moved, what was it like when you landed in the UK?
For me, at the beginning, I was only 14 years old when we arrived in England. And for me, it felt like it was the same place, because there were still white people, there was still a white culture, I was still a Roma, and it was even more difficult because I didn't know the land, I didn't know the language, I didn't know how to move, how to protect myself, how to protect my family. Where in my city, I sort of knew where to go, where to run, what to do, where my uncles, cousins were and everything. Do you know what I mean? I knew my safety zones. And here I'm in this new land, I can even communicate. And it was scary because as a young boy, all you want to do is protect your family. That's like our duty as a young men and our families. So arriving to this new land, it was really scary. But there was a huge difference in this country to the country I came from.
What was the notable difference that you noticed? Because at that sort of young age, you would have now started to maybe identify with certain things, people, systems, and things of that nature.
Yeah, so when we went to school here, there was a difference. The teachers actually wanted me there. The teachers actually wanted to help me. They didn't hit me, shout at me, call me names. They spoke to me. They wanted me in that space. They wanted to help me to be able to learn. And there was few incredible teachers up to today. I'm so grateful for these amazing human beings that showed me the other side. Because I remember one day I was sat in a classroom and the teacher said, well, Toby, today you need to learn your spellings. So you've got to be on a computer typing. She gave me this book and she asked me to type. And I got really frustrated, had a really terrible week that week. And then so I pushed the keyboard away. And I went, I'm not doing it. White people all my life telling me to do things, leave me alone. I just want to be myself. I don't want to do this. And she said, Toby, what's going on? I said, I don't care. I had enough of this. And then I said, I hate white people. And at that moment in time, she said to me, what did you mean by that? I said, I hate all white people. You're all the same. And she said, Toby, do you hate me? And I went, no. And I mean, this teacher was the kindest, most respectful, most beautiful soul I've met so far. And so she said to me, do you hate me? And I went, no. She said, do you hate my husband? I said, no, because her husband was one of the first males who took me out to play football. She said, do you hate my son? I said, no, because he was one of the first kids I ever played with. And then what she taught me a lesson was this: we're not all the same. It's just some of the people you met were bad people. We're not all the same. What I didn't realize as a young child, I did what everyone done to me. They said all Roma are bad. They put us all in one box. So I just did the same, because that's the only thing I knew. And in that moment in time, I realized you got to take every human being as one, as that person, not put people together. And that was one of my biggest lessons in my life. And I live by that to today. So I try not to judge. I do my best to treat human beings as individuals, not as a group of people, or group of culture, or group of religion, or group of anything. I just treat them as individuals. And that was a huge lesson in my life.
Absolutely. I can only imagine, because once you now have that context, the world becomes your whole classroom, because each individual presents a whole set of being. And yes, I can only imagine what that would have been like for you. You know, this was no longer survival. This was now thriving in a world where you also now had to mirror what was happening at that particular time, and whoever that person was at that particular time. Now, how were the people around you now having, responding to that?
I think once I've learned that lesson was really big difference for me, because I've seen people in a different light. And then what happened was, I think I've learned space in my brain and in my soul of learning. No more surviving, no more, trying to get through it. It was more about, what can I do? How can I grow? What can I achieve? I suddenly had this belief that I could become something, where before, this whole thing of, put it this way, all my life I was told from a very young age, you're no good, you never become something, you never achieve anything, you shouldn't be alive. That's the messages I was given from the community and the people that were growing up around me in the country I lived in. And suddenly I'm like, I could be something, I could do something. There is something here. I'm not a loser, I'm not a failure, I'm somebody. So I kind of took the opportunity and decided to listen, decided to learn, and decided to grow.
Absolutely. And with that newfound knowledge and with that newfound self-awareness, where did that take you?
Oh, it took me so many beautiful places. One of the most things I loved was hip hop. So I remember being still back home in Poland, and my sister and my brother were really into hip hop music. And then one day we were watching MTV, and there was this dancing crew. They were called Flying Steps. There was a German b-boy crew. And they made a song called Freestyler. And it's one of my most favorite songs to today. Whenever I hear it, I gotta dance. I don't care if that's in the shop. I don't care where that is. I am jamming to that song, because it's my first song I kind of fall in love with. That taught me how to do breakdancing, and taught me how to dance, and taught me how to move. And so I would sit at the TV and watch it and wait for them just to do that move. And sometimes I sat in front of the TV 3 hours just to watch 3 minutes. And you only got 3 minutes to see that move and then to do something, try copy it. And so many times I'll go out on the concrete, hurt myself, do things. And it was incredible, because the learning, the music, the culture, I just fall in love with it. And then from then, when I came to England, and then I discovered this whole thing about treating each human being as they are. I've learned to bring people in, start teaching, start sharing. I've met other guys who were into it. And then we started building our own crew. And then from then, I suddenly had purpose. Hip hop gave me a purpose. I wasn't this refugee no more. I was the kid who can dance. I was the break dancer. Oh, he's the break dancer. It's no more refugees, no more Toby. It was, he's the break dancer. Suddenly I had purpose. Suddenly made me feel great about who I was. I started finding my way through the world that I lived in.
So what I'm hearing from you there, and I think this is very profound. So many people walk around with a label that they have been given, and they don't try to enhance themselves in such a way that people can see them in a whole different light, because everybody's just living their life. And if you don't show up with anything of value, because by you teaching other people, you're sharing your skills and yourself, which then made people come to you, would you now say the more we do things for others, the more we are actually then accepted, not as what the world would have wanted us to be known as, but as to the value that we're bringing to the marketplace?
Yeah, definitely. And I think more people in the world see it like that. But I think one of the things for me, I struggle with that in a way of, I have to do this for you just to see me. I have to do this for you just to recognize me. So one of my sayings from my mother was this: when you walk in a room, be 10 times smarter. When you walk in a room, be 10 times faster. When you walk in a room, be 10 times stronger. When you walk in a room, be 10 times kinder. And I have to do that just for people to notice me. While other people walk in a room and say, hi, my name is Bob, and everything's cushy, everything's good. When I walk in, I have to walk in with this, good morning, hello, pleasure to meet you. I'm sending you peace and love. And suddenly people go, wow, isn't that an amazing person? Well, the other dude just walked in, hi, my name is Bob, and he's allowed in. So for me in the world, one of the things I've learned was this: be you, but be authentic. And no matter how many times you walk in, always be the same. Be the true you. And yes, in the world we live in today, people do appreciate it and people do acknowledge it. I would love it to be a world where I get you just to walk in and be me, and you recognize and see me for me. And if that's me being quiet or me being loud, whatever that is, I'd love for human beings to see me as a human being, not as this, wow, you're so respectful, you're so polite, you're so kind, he gave me so much. I should be just allowed to be able to walk in and just to be. And that should be enough.
And I respect that. And what I'm hearing is you literally have to work twice as hard to get half.
Yes. Yeah, that was the hardest part, because you've seen other people just walking in and being able to do twice as much as you just because they walked in. And lots of times, yes, it was because they were white and because they were from the city and because they were from the community around them. I had to earn my stripes. Do you know what I mean? And the hardest part was this, when we had conversations with many different people, and I'm a very open person. I'm happy to have any deep or hard conversation. And people would say, but Toby, you're okay. It's just all the other refugees. Do you see what I'm saying? So for me, it was like, so what makes me okay? Because I give back, because I'm super kind, because I go the extra mile for so many different people. So because I earn my stripes, I'm okay. But the other people might just have a job. They haven't got time to give back. They save money to save the family back home, and they're doing so many things just to survive. But just because they haven't got the time to do what I do, they're not okay.
See, what you're talking about there, and I'm just gonna maybe put it across to you, like, you worked far too hard to be that break dancer. And what did you think of our Australian representative at the Olympics?
I think for me, there was a lot of media twist in it. I think the young girl who represented, she tried her best. And I get there was the way they did it and the way people were chosen. I'm not 200% because I don't know the facts of it, but there are stories, and there's many different types of stories, that there were other people that could have been chosen for it. But because they were the organizers, they had the opportunity to put themselves forward. I don't know if that's fact, or that's the kind of stories I've heard. For me, it's the whole thing I love about hip hop culture. We all have different personalities, different styles, and there is a certain level. Yes, we give everyone an opportunity, but there is a standard, there is a level that we expect from people to be able to battle, especially when you're battling between countries. You want your best. And even if this was your dream, if you ain't up to scratch, put your best forward, because they're representing your country. So if there was people who were better, who were having that skill and that knowledge, they should have been put forward. Was she at high level? Not to my eyes, not to my understanding. She wasn't a very high level. What I didn't like what happened to that girl after the disrespect and the mimics and the gimmicks that were made out of her. I feel really sorry for the young girl. You know, she did try, I understand. But I think the aftermath, especially in our culture, in hip hop, respect is a very important thing. And I think a lot of people are very disrespectful. I understand she put herself in that spot. So she had to deal with the outcome. But I know this poor young girl definitely learned from it big time. And I know she struggled through months and months after it.
Absolutely. Now, you've gone on and co-founded Street Factory with your wife, Jo,
Yes,
who I
yes.
thought was going to be on the call today.
Yeah.
So what was this this is impossible sort of moment in those early days? You know, what were you guys creating, and how did you then lean into each other to just keep going?
Yeah, so the main point, I think, is at beginning, the first day we met. So we both worked for Theatre Royal, which is a really big theatre in a city. We worked for TR2. I was the dancing teacher. She was the acting teacher. And on my first day when I walked in, it wasn't my first day, it was my third year there. But on the first day of the meeting, of the staff meeting, I walked in, it was Joe's first time. So I walked into the space and everyone in the space just turned around and looked at me, but not in a very nice way. And then Joe noticed that. And so Joe said to somebody, "Oh, who's that?" "That's Toby and his crew." So I wasn't very welcome. It was a very classic kind of like them and us. They were the kind of middle class. I was the poor in that circumstance. So Joe seen that and she felt this was unfair. So then what she's done, she stood up because there's no chairs. Imagine everyone sat on a chair. There's no spare chairs. And I just walked in. She stood up, said, "Would you like my seat?" And I was like, whoa, like, what do I do now? Because in my culture, my community, we give the lady a seat. And suddenly somebody offered me a seat. But not only that, she noticed. Not many people in my life noticed and never stood up for me. And she did at that moment. I realized what she's done. And I was like, "Thank you." So I walked up and took her seat. And she had to walk right across the entire room. It was a huge room, to go grab a chair from the back and walk right back, and everyone in the space saw it. But the thing with Jo is she can't hold back her emotions, so everything you could see on her face. So everyone knew she was upset. So then she's walking back, she sat right next to me. So we moved people up and she sat right next to me. And what she said when she sat next to me without saying any words is, "I will protect you." So she sat right next to me in that moment in time as a stranger. And she thought what happened was wrong. And this was our first meeting. And then she told me, "I've been in New York, I've done this, I love hip hop," and everything. So we started talking, just blah, 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 going crazy. And then a year later, we got together. And it was the most beautiful moment when you meet a human being who's just kind, just pure kindness. So that's how we met. Then we got married, we've got 6 kids. And then during that journey when we were just friends, we talked about being able to go and teach and travel and teach around schools and help kids. And we both have this mission of being able to help other people. So that's why me and her clicked so well. And so what happened then, one day we're sat there having a chat and she said, "So what we're going to call it?" And I went, "Street Factory. We're the factory that produces the people from the streets." And it was like, boom, we gave that life. Just like that, we gave that life. And then since then, me and Jo were traveling around schools, colleges, delivering all different types of workshops, teaching everywhere. And then there was a church up the road from my house. And in the area, there was always a little bit of trouble. So we said, "Why don't we just open a Saturday session for the community?" So we did. So we hired the venue. Me and Jo would do workshops. And it started with 2 people first week, 3 people second week, 20 people third week, 100 people fourth week, because the news spread so quick. And the thing is, not many people did anything for free. And we were the people who believed, because we knew our parents, like Joe's mom and my mom, had many kids. So for them to bring us anywhere, they had to bring 6, 7 kids. You couldn't afford to pay for 6, 7 kids to go and have fun. So we knew the difficulty a lot of people were in. So we said, we're going to do it for free. And this is where Street Factory was born. And our Circle Time was born. So Circle Time was where everyone and anyone could come in, and it was from babies to grandparents would dance together as families and have fun and really enjoy themselves. And from that moment, we've done this for 20 years, the Circle Time. Me and Joe always funded it. Me and Joe always supported this whole thing. And this is where we gave opportunities to all sorts of people from all different backgrounds. And this was the most beautiful place we had, where a Circle Time, anywhere where it happened, it was everybody. And the main principles we lived by and we taught, which was respect, peace, love, unity, and having fun. We gave these principles to every human being who came through the door. We didn't care about the culture, the class, or the color, or anything. It didn't matter. To us, you're a human being. You're welcome here. Come and join into our culture. And the most beautiful thing is, in 20 years, didn't have a fight, didn't have no trouble, didn't have no arguments, nothing. And people used to come to me from the council and the governments like, how do you do this? How's this working? And I mean, you have people from everywhere, people from all different, and you have people who didn't have money, and you have people who had money, and they would come there because it was so kind, it was so honest, and it was so good. And everyone supported everyone. So in the 20 years, we've taught thousands, and I mean like hundreds of thousands of kids. And today, lots of them are adults, and they've got their own kids, they've got their wives, they've got businesses, families, and whenever they're around, they're like, Toby, we're coming back, and we pop into a session and stuff. And it's incredible when you see them come back with their own children, and they're like, yeah, respect, peace, love, unity, and having fun. To me, that's the most greatest thing I could ever give to a human, to be able to share that. So me and Joe started the company together, and to today, we're traveling all around the world sharing these principles that gave us a really good, happy life.
That's so beautiful, because you're literally giving back the very thing that Joe gave you right from the start.
Yes.
Like she said, she was going to protect you, and all these other people that are coming to you, obviously from the outskirts, they are experiencing that. And when they come into the circle, the world doesn't matter anymore. They're just in there in that moment with whatever is happening. Yeah,
100%. And there was a moment in my life when someone asked me this question. I was on a BBC interview or something, and they asked me this question, so Toby, why do you do this? And I couldn't answer. I didn't know the point. I didn't have the words to express. I just knew that was my purpose. I knew there's a meaning to it, a deeper meaning, but I just couldn't figure out. So then after the interview, Joe said to me, babes, this is your purpose. What you're doing is you're healing and saving that little Toby, because that little Toby needed a friend, a teacher, a guide, somebody to help him. So what you're doing, you're giving to them what you needed when you were a child. And I was like, wow, this makes sense. This is the point. So Joe understood what I was doing. So she explained it to me. And then now whenever I go anywhere, I always say, all I'm doing is giving what I needed when I was a child. I needed a friend. I needed a teacher. I needed a guide. I need somebody to help me. And there was nobody there. So I had to become it for others. And for others, I'm the best friend. I'm the brother. I'm the teacher. I'm the mentor. I'm all these things that people need. And I only work by need. So if people need me, I'm there.
Absolutely. And kudos to you. I mean, you've gone on and spoken at a TEDx. You did highlight that you were on a BBC interview and you received an MBE. That's like second level to being a knight. You might as well be the king for all that we know. You know what I mean? Those are accolades that don't come easy. And even most of that is even inspired academic research into your Gorniak method. Maybe walk us through all these experiences, because you came in as a refugee, bro.
Yes. Yeah. Put it this way. So let me explain to you the day that we had when we received the letter from the Queen. So Sunday in my house, it's a movie day. So every morning, me and all my children grab the blankets, pillows, quilts, and we will literally flood the front room. So the front room's full of quilts and cushions and everything. Then Joe goes downstairs, makes the cups of tea for us, snacks and whatever, and all the kids bring it all up. So she's gone downstairs. I'm grabbing all the quilts and pillows from all the room. So in our house is teamwork. So I'm going to do my bit, and then I'm sorting the room out. Joe went downstairs. She picked up the post, went downstairs, and now Joe is screaming downstairs. I'm like, what's happening? She goes, you won't believe it. No, I am very excited because I played the postcode lottery. So I thought I won the lottery. So I'm excited. I'm in the front room going, yes, this is amazing. And then Jo comes upstairs. She says, the whole family. So we all sat down on the couch and she reads this letter from Her Majesty the Queen. And I was like, Majesty the Queen, what's the Majesty got to do with the lottery? I don't know. She maybe gives him some money or something. I don't know. So anyway, she's reading this letter, and there were so many words I didn't understand because they're very big words that I never heard before. So I'm sat there, and then she finished the letter, and I'm like, so how much did we win? She goes, what do you mean? Didn't you understand? I went, no. I said, how much did we win? Because I'm still thinking I won the postcode lottery. And she went, no. You were offered to be awarded an MBE from the Queen for all your work. I said, what does that mean? So then when we went on Google, we went on YouTube, we researched everything, and then it hit me. I was like, wow, what me? And the biggest thing I say, and every time I say this, the biggest thank you and biggest gratitude to all the people who wrote the letters on my behalf for me to receive this. Without the incredible people writing the, and you have people like head of councils, head of universities, schools, chief of the police, chief of the Racial Equality Council, community members, everyone got together behind my back and wrote these letters into the Queen for me to be able to receive this. Now, for me, the biggest gratitude, because you know what it takes for you to stop your life and to write a letter for somebody. Do you know what I mean? That there takes so much love and so much respect for another human being for you to be able to stop your life and to write a letter for somebody. Because even if you go on social media today, people can look at your videos and like and like and like. Do you know how much it takes for someone to stop and actually comment? Do you know how much it takes for someone to stop and have a conversation? So I know how much time and pressure that took for these people to be able to write these letters. They're most grateful to these human beings. So then I've realized what it was. I was going crazy because imagine me coming here as a refugee, not speaking the language, not having a house, not having nothing. I mean, what turned up in the clothes that we wore is the clothes I had. We had to go to charity places to get clothes. And suddenly I'm receiving this. I mean, it blew my mind. And then the most beautiful thing, because when we went there on the day, before I was going, I wasn't allowed to tell anyone, and only I think a week or 2 weeks before you're allowed to announce. So then it was announced. Imagine I'm speaking to people, people are like, don't worry, Toby, good things are coming for you. You just keep on going, keep on pushing. And I was like, yeah, thank you. Thinking in my head, you don't know what's happening. You don't know that letter I had, which was so incredible. So then we went to the palace. And as we were going there before that, a lot of the older community, Toby, don't you bloody change. I was like, yes, I won't. And there's all the older people in Plymouth, which is incredible. Like, you be yourself. I said, I will be. So then I wore a bandana and I wore a pair of Nikes, Air Force Ones, Nikes. But I had these beautiful brown leather ones that looked so cool. And then my wife chose my suit, which was incredible. The suit was super fire. So I was still representing myself. And as we're going in there, so in England, if you go into a really posh place or anywhere else, they won't let you in a pair of trainers. So then my wife is saying, if they don't let us in with a pair of trainers, I'm going to kill you. So I'm like, oh my God. So we stood outside now and I'm going, please, please, please let me in with these trainers. And they opened the gate and they said, good morning, sir. Please come through. I was like, oh, they let me in. So I was like, oh, cool. So we walked in, and as we walking in, there's a gentleman who opens the door and lets you in, and he goes, who is the Esquire? So I'm looking around thinking, I don't know what that means. And then Joe went, oh, it's him. And I went, oh, it's me. They're like, okay, you have to walk in first. The ladies have to walk in behind you. Where in my culture, we open the doors for the ladies and the ladies walk in front of me. And then Joe and her mum came with me. They know how I live and they know who I am. So they were like, oh my God, Toby's going to be dying now out of embarrassment because we have to walk behind him. So then we walked in and the place, oh my God, it's a different world. It's a different world. So we walk in and then you've got these soldiers stood there in all this armor, in this metal shiny armor. They're all stood there and they don't move. They don't blink. They're just stood. Do you know what I mean? And it was incredible. So the whole experience was amazing. And then after the experience, and then once I walked up to Prince William, because Prince William put the medal on me. So as we walked up, that's the other thing, was I was really surprised how much he knew about each person. Imagine they had to deal with like 60 people during that day who were there. And for him, so I had a conversation with him and I said, so listen, I'm opening this place, love for you to come and visit you. And Toby, I know everything you're doing. And then he started telling me about everything that I'm doing. I was like, wow, this guy is good. Like, I mean, I thought it's going to be a hi, thank you, bye. It wasn't. He actually knew so much. I was blown away. So I've got so much respect for Prince William for knowing everything that we were doing. It was incredible. And then there was this little moment. So as you can see, I've got long hair. I've got plaits. So he led in.
Rub it in.
Sorry, my brother. So he was about to touch my hair, but he realized he wasn't allowed. So he went, "Was that real?" And I went, yeah. And I looked up and I realized he didn't have much. That's why he was so excited about my hair. So we had a little laugh about it. It was brilliant. And then when we walked out, I thought, all the dancers and all the people I ever taught who moved to London and live in London now. So I told everyone I'm coming up. So there was like 30 of us. They said, oh, let's meet in this place, because one of the guys worked in like his little pub place. They said, let's meet down his place and then we can celebrate. When we turned up, when I walked away from the palace, I was literally dazed. I was like, and that was me for hours. I was just dazed. I thought we're going to be partying and everything. I was just like, wow. Me, this little Roma boy who came here with not knowing the language, not knowing his purpose in life, not knowing who he was, how he's going to fit in. Sometimes, you know, we were back home, we were very poor. And today I've received this. I was just like, wow, it was a beautiful moment. And especially for me, having my wife there, having my mother-in-law there, and having all these dancers with me when they met me after, it was really, really special. So that was that crazy moment of receiving the MBE.
Right. One thing that just struck me there is representation matters.
Yes.
Because what you did, I mean, obviously, yes, Prince William knighted you and everything, badges, and you guys had a bit of banter, but imagine that little Roma kid who now has you as the poster child for this is who I'm going to be, or I'm going to have to do things, because you just didn't wake up, you know, and, you know, like scratch the lottery like you thought you did. You had given, you had put value, connected with people so much, like you said, people went on and wrote the letter. And when you were talking about the time somebody takes to write, I was just envisioning the long walk Jo had to take to go and take that chair because she wanted to protect you. And that's how everybody else would have gone out of their way, stand up against everything that's supposed to be taking their moment. And then that long walk that they had done, and then
it's just incredible. Do you know what I mean? The moments like this make you really think about the impact that people can have on you by sometimes the little things they do. And for me, those little things ended up being really big things in my life. And that's one thing I'm really grateful for. Each human being that crossed my path, and each human being who helped, and each human being who taught me a lesson. So even sometimes people say, yeah, but Toby, how do you deal with the difficult people? No, I'm grateful for those people too, because those people taught me how not to be. So every person I meet in my life gives me a lesson, and I'm grateful for all, because without those lessons, I wouldn't be who I am today.
Absolutely. Because first of all, a lesson from mom who always told you to show up. And then the second, Joel, who literally
Yeah.
broke the pattern of kindness. And then, oh, wait a minute, there was that teacher who literally showed you the difference between each and every one person. And if you look at my fingers, no two fingers on the same hand are of the same height.
Yes.
And that's exactly the lesson that the teacher taught you there.
100%.
And obviously the queen came around, showed you that you too can be, do, and have a happy existence in all, if only.
Yeah.
In business, we call it giver's gain or things of that nature, because the more you give, the more you get back. Help enough people get what they want, then you too will get that which you want and a lot more.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. And I love something that you mentioned earlier, which was about the next Roma kid. And I tell you what, this is like one of my biggest dreams. So a very couple of years ago, I had the most beautiful opportunity in my life. I went to Wales to work in a school that had predominantly a lot of Roma children. And it was the first time in my life I could teach Roma children, but in my Roma language. It was like, wow. Like, we speak it at home, and it's a secret because it's a language just for our people. So we don't share it, we don't teach it. It's only for our people. So it's only passed on from your parents to your child, and the history goes on. For me to be in a classroom and talk to these young Roma kids and show them what I've achieved and show them what I've done, to change their mindset on you are somebody, you're worth something. Because in the world we live in, from day one, we're all told we're worth nothing. And there's a word that people use in Europe. And it's, to me, I understand the meaning of it, but I think a lot of my Roma people don't. And to me, it's a word to put you down, to describe you as dirty, criminal, and nobody. That's what this word means. And my people have adopted that word like it's something, because people said it enough times that our people don't believe it. So my job at this moment in time is to change the language and to make that word a racist word, a word that people shouldn't be allowed to use. So I would love for my people to use the word who we truly are, which we are Roma. That's what we are. We are the Roma people. But lots of people in the world would use the word Tsigan, which it's a very bad word. It means dirty, filthy, criminal, bad, no good human being on the planet. But a lot of my people have adopted that word and they use it with pride. So one of the things I would love to do is to re-educate my community to have that pride, what Roma means. Because when you say Roma, there's a power behind it. There's a pride, there's this honor. And I think my people have forgotten. And that's why when you said that, I was like, yeah, that's one of my missions. But I hope that this here, some young child or some older person who's from the Roma community watches this and goes, you know what? I have purpose too. I have a reason to be alive. I have a reason to do something to change the world. And that's my hope, that my work and my purpose here on this planet is to make a difference and to inspire, but to inspire all. This isn't just for Roma, because sometimes people think, oh, Toby, just for... No, I'm for all human beings. Because to me, hip-hop taught me a very important lesson. Hip-hop taught me we are one. There's one human race, and hip-hop taught me that. So later through my life, when I did my dancing, and all the dancing was cool, and I did it because it was cool and it felt good. But later, I understood to study hip-hop. And I studied people like KRS-One, who is a hip-hop teacher, and he teaches you the principle of our culture and what this is. And that this here, and if you look at it, hip-hop is everywhere in the world. In the rich and in the poor, it's everywhere in the world. So we have this one culture that's been touched everywhere in the world. And no matter where you're from, you can do it, and it's free. That's the beautiful thing I love about hip-hop. That anyone become part of it. When you become part of it, you're like, you could be from Germany, I could be from Poland. And as soon as we say we're hip-hop, like, yeah, what's up, my brother? Do you know what I mean? We're suddenly brothers, like. And that's something I love about the culture. So yeah, to be able to make that difference by using that culture, I think it's one of my most beautiful moments in my life when I realized what this was, how special this was, and to be able to help people around the world to do it.
Oh, absolutely. And you also have, as a common thread in everything that you're talking and the way that you are putting stuff out there, words like respect, peace, love, unity, and having fun. That's like a common thread in just about everything that you are doing, and how you speak, how you show up, how you present yourself, and things of that nature. Now, how have these values really, really made you the person you are today?
Oh, huge, huge. I mean, my poor children, that's one thing I gotta say, my poor kids. Because from day one when they were born, I would repeat these words. They became like affirmations in our family. They became words of wisdom. They became words of growth, of kindness and love. So I would get my kids to do a drawing competition. Who makes the biggest and coolest post? So that all my kids would be drawing and everything. And all these drawings would be then put all around the house. It would be on the bathroom door, on the mirror, on the kitchen doors, on the fridge, on the windows. Everywhere you walked in a house, these elements were there. And then whenever our children were kind of behaving not the way, we were like, are you leading by the five elements? And that's all we would say. And we would walk away. We let them think, we let them process, and let them fix it. So this became the morals of a family. This became our compass of life. So then what I realized, it's really good stuff. I started giving this to everyone else I met. And I've learned to live by it. Some people have all the different types of religion, the different types of beliefs, different types of cultures. But the one thing, those five elements suit every culture, every religion, every background. So every person that I meet can take these five and adopt them into whatever they are doing in their lives. And that was something I was really proud of, that this was so simple that any person could take it and any person could use it. And when people did, some of the most incredible, most beautiful things have happened since then. So for me as a human being, I feel it made my life easy, because when I go to meet someone, I come to meet you with all my heart. There's no defense, there's no protection, there's no who is he, what does he want, what does he want to speak to me. It's, hello, I'm coming with respect, I'm coming with peace, I'm coming with love, I'm coming with unity, and I'm coming with fun. That's how I come to meet every human being I meet. And the most incredible things happen from it. Like you said, receiving an MBE, receiving awards, national, international, all around the world for my work. It's crazy how people even hear about me. Do you know what I mean? I am just this small person in Plymouth doing this thing, which I love. And I'm getting awards from all around the world. I'm being recognized everywhere for this stuff. And it's beautiful, because really what we're saying is kindness and goodness is recognized. Now that's something that's beautiful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, not only have you done this for yourself, I mean, obviously the international accolades, and, you're on first name basis with Prince William for all I know, but we've also heard that you've turned students who've gone from gangs, that would have been bad in their lives, and ended up in like top universities, thanks to like the support that you're giving out there. But many people assume hip hop is just maybe entertainment, or it's guns, violence, and things of that nature, or that coaching is just pep talk. You just need pep talk, and if you're good, then that's fine, or motivational, things of that nature. What's one surprising misconception about what you do? Because you've created your own lane. There's not going to be a Roma dancer, TEDx speaker that has got love, respect, and unity as their values, with 6 kids and Joe as the wife. This is just you. You know what I mean? Like, what sort of misconceptions do you still come across when obviously you've achieved all of this, and some people are still looking at you like,
I think the biggest thing is this: when people see me, see this image, and usually I've got a big necklace on, big silver watch, bracelet. I wear a lot of bling. I really dress up. I believe when I'm here on this planet, I'm going to enjoy every moment, and I'm going to dress up, show off, and enjoy every little bit of life. So when people see me, they might think, Oh, he's a gangster. Oh, he's a drug dealer. But I'm everything opposite to what these people think. And when they meet me and they give me a chance to speak, they go, wow, this is a nice human being. And same thing when people talk about hip hop. There is hip hop and there is hip hop culture, two separate things. There's hip hop that you see on MTV, and there's hip hop that's the culture, the root of everything that we do. And you've got DJ Kool Herc and Africa Bambaataa, who created hip hop, who created the first event, who started the whole motion of hip hop culture. So it became more than just music, dance, graffiti, DJing, rapping. There's a culture, there's a way of life. And one of the things for me, this was very beautiful because a lot of the old teachings, that's what this came to. The old principles, the old morals, the old code, which was community. And when you break down the word community, it's unity, which means come together, be as one. And when the community brings up kids, they grow up to be incredible, powerful human beings. Nobody can bring up a kid on their own because your kid will go to school, they'll have friends, they have the local lady at the corner shop. Every person in their life will have an effect on them. So it's a community. So one of the things I've taught every child and every person I ever worked with, it takes more than one to bring somebody up. Same thing with me, my teachers, my friends, my people around me, my mentors, my everybody person I ever met taught me something. And because of that, I am who I am today. So for me, with hip hop culture and hip hop in general, there's a big misconception. Yes, we have that side, which is about money, drugs, guns, and all this kind of negative stuff. Yeah, that's how the big corporations make the money. Then you have the other side, which is the hip hop culture. So whenever I go anywhere and people say, I am a hip hop head, I come from the hip hop culture, I know what they live by. Straight away, I know they have these 5 elements because that's rooted in the culture. And no matter where I am in the world, when I meet that person, me and that person, just like that, click, because we speak the same language. But not only the same language verbally, the same language from our heart, the same language from our mind, the same language from our souls. And that's something that people have misjudged and have a different misunderstanding about hip hop culture and the community and the love that it brings.
Kind of feel bad right now, Toby, because you did say you do sometimes show up, so you didn't even make an effort. You know, I know I'm not a big time podcaster. Fantastic. And for those that are watching right now and listening, I just want you to think about maybe you had someone who ever told you you'd amount to nothing, or you're worthless, or you'd never make it. And did you have that? Did somebody tell that to you? Well, Toby did, and look at who he has become. I want you to leave us a comment just telling us who said it, what was it, and how are you proving them wrong today? Write it in the comments below. Toby will be in there, you know, dancing with you and just high-fiving you and fist pumping you, you know, sharing the love that he's got. Now, Toby, I mean, obviously you brought us into your world right now. You brought us into everything that you're doing. Maybe talk us about your Good Human Revolution. What does that entail, and how can people be a part of it?
So the Good Human Revolution is about spreading more kindness, educating people how to use kindness to be able to have a job, to be able to have an income, to be able to have a good lifestyle. So what I'm trying to change in the world is that people believe to have money, sometimes you have to do wrong things, or sometimes you have to behave in a certain manner that might not suit who you are, but everyone else is doing it, so you believe you might have to do so. My understanding is the Good Human Revolution is about teaching people that you can make money and you can make a difference. So you can set up a business, you can do a job, but you can do it with kindness, you can do it with love and care. So the Gorniak method is all about showing people that you come from nothing and you can become something. And it's giving people steps and techniques and tools where you can help yourself. One of my most difficult things I face every single day is I can't help enough people. That's my difficulty. I would love to create this huge platform where thousands and millions of people could access to be able to help themselves. Because I truly believe in that everything's on you. I can only give you the opportunity, give you the knowledge, give you the tools, and only if you take them and start building, only you can make that difference in your life. So the Gorniak method is based on basic foundations, which is the 5 elements, and then the core of everything, which is learning about yourself, discovering who you are. Because many times I'll ask people, so who are you? They go, well, I'm a dad. No. That's for everybody else. Who are you? Well, I work at this job. No, that's for everybody else. Who are you? And when you really look deep into yourself and you ask yourself that question, well, who am I? What's my purpose for me? Not purpose for the world. Who am I to me? And when people can discover that, suddenly they realize how amazing and incredible they are. Because lots of times we live in a world that has told us many different things. And sometimes we learn to believe those things, and those things might not be true. So the Gorniak method is based on growth, on development, on looking at yourself. And once you do that, you understand the value and the incredible, powerful human being you are. And the one thing I always say to people is this: you can always become more. Even if you feel you're not there yet, you can always become more. And imagine becoming so much that then you end up giving back. And there's a principle we live by from hip hop, which is teach to teach. Everything I give you today, please take and give to another. So every human being that ever worked with me in my programs, in my dance, in my mentorship, in any type of thing I ever delivered, I always say to them, teach to teach. So this young man that we worked with, he was learning how to be a bricklayer. And it was incredible because it's got nothing to do with dance, got nothing to do with hip hop, but it's got everything to do with our culture. It's a way of life. So then this young man became really strong, really determined, very kind, very driven. He ended up being the best bricklayer within the city, the youngest and one of the best. And then we said to him, next time you see a kid just like you, give him or her a chance. Open the door for them and keep it open so more can walk through. And today, this young man runs his own company, 30 men and women strong in his team, earning thousands, hundreds of thousands of pounds every single year because of the team, because of the community, because of what he put back into the people. And this young man went through foster care, went through trouble, went through a really difficult life. And today, he's given back. And there's nothing more beautiful when you see that ripple effect, teach to teach. And that's some of the principles people learn when they work with me on the Gorniak method.
Absolutely. Now, man, I can't thank you enough for the time, the love, the respect that you've given to this particular show and everything else that comes along with it. And I just feel like there's a lot that has happened in your life, and yet you still have the time to give, and yet you still have the time to appreciate and give gratitude, to those that have helped you and those that even beneath you. Like you wouldn't even had to worry about most of the people, but like you said, it's all teach to teach. I mean, thank you, man, for all you're doing. And it's a pity you've already gone past Australia, but you're gonna have to come back.
I'm coming back, man. I'm definitely coming back. Yeah, there's definitely some really good stuff on the cards. So at this moment in time, me and my wife are traveling. Next month, I'm visiting 8 different countries. At the end, we're going to Dubai, and we're thinking after Dubai to shoot over to Australia. So we might pop in. So I will pop you a message when I am out in the area. Definitely.
Make sure, bro.
Definitely.
Make sure, bro. I'll find a bandana that can stick to my head, and yeah, we can go around and just find some kids that we can also pass the butt down, man. But thank you so much for what you're doing and everything else. All right.
No, thank you for your time. I just want to say biggest thank you to you for showing and shining the light on a story like this. So just want to say thank you.
Absolutely. Wow. For those that are watching right now, that was Toby Gorniak MBE. Gotta respect that. I think that's just a story that reminds us no matter where you start, you can lead with resilience, creativity, and love. The more you give, the more you will get back. It is a currency after all, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, and they say love is not love until you give it away. And when it then comes back, it brings back friends and everything else that comes along with it. So if you found yourself nodding along and thinking, wow, that's exactly what I went through, please share this episode with someone else who might actually want to or really need to hear this today, because there's so many people that are struggling out there that they think they are all by themselves. And if they don't get to hear things like this, they might just think there's no resolve or that this is the end of it all. And yeah, don't forget our next episode. I just got word that we're going to be diving into ideas that would actually help you cultivate a happier existence. So you can just take what you heard from here and then really, really start implementing it. Because I think prosperity isn't just about wealth, it's about well being, it's about purpose and connection. And for those that haven't subscribed yet, why not? Just make sure you subscribe now for more of this transformative content that we're offering you here. So if you want to reach out to Toby, whether it's for speaking, mentorship, or maybe bring the Gorniak method to your school, company, or community, please check out the show notes. I'll be putting all those details. I've included his contact info and also website that you can reach out to him on. And thank you so much for listening. And I want you to remember one thing: just be a good human. Until next time, stay inspired, stay involved, and keep moving forward. Bye for now.
Thank you. Peace and love.